Hi, my name's Mike. This film is about one of the most amazingly beautiful and surreal places I have ever been, Myanmar, a country better known to the Western world as Burma. It's a place of ancient traditions, of devout Buddhism, gypsy sunsets, and at times, the most incredible natural beauty. It's home to a kind and gentle people who live mostly in abject poverty, and until very recently, under the rule of one of the world's longest-standing military dictatorships. I first visited Myanmar in 2011 with my girlfriend Alyssa.
We know this ain't crazy, day at a time, together we grow.
4 short weeks in the country had a profound effect on our lives, and in 2014 we returned to begin the process of building a school in a tiny village called Sitaung. This film is about the string of events that led us to create the For Good Foundation and embark on a journey to build a school in one of the world's most impoverished and fragile countries.
Our first trip to Myanmar in 2011 was a surreal experience. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. At the time, the country was still a relatively obscure place, little known to the Western world. It wasn't yet on the tourist map, and during the entire month in the country, we saw only a handful of Westerners. We visited the floating villages at Lake Inle, a primitive Venice, where the locals live a subsistence lifestyle, provided all they need from the lake's fertile waters. We saw the ancient ruins of Bagan and Moa'u, built before the rise of Machu Picchu and around the same time as the Great Wall of China. Bagan is a sprawling collection of more than 2,000 pagodas that stretch across the arid plains of central Myanmar. The sunsets at Bagan explain why it was held as a holy site to the ancient Buddhas who once lived here. We visited the southern peninsula, where deserted white sand beaches and turquoise waters rival those of the Thai islands.
Is it cold? I'd visited most other parts of Asia before. I'd seen poverty and pollution, and even found myself in the middle of a civil uprising in Tibet in 2008. But none of those experiences could prepare me for the things that we saw in Myanmar. We arrived at the tail end of more than 60 years of military rule. During that time, the country was effectively closed to the rest of the world due to economic sanctions from the United States and the European Union. The United Nations World Health Organization placed Myanmar last on the world rankings for health systems, behind even the most war-ravaged of African nations.
Dada!
Corruption was rampant, and anyone who spoke out against the military was jailed or killed. The leader of the Burmese independence movement, Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi, spent 15 years under house arrest. And yet, in spite of the harshness of their living conditions, we found the Burmese people to be so kind and welcoming.
During our first week in the country, we met two local men named Coco and Zozo.
Welcome to Myanmar. I am Coco. I am Zozo. Welcome to Myanmar.
I am Coco.
I am Zozo.
We quickly became friends, and they offered to show us their customs and culture.
What do you call this?
Kuya.
Koya. How do you say good?
Kongne.
Kongne. Kongne. Mukomu. No good. No good. No good. Kongne. Kongne good. Mukomu no good. Kongne good. You are
Open your mouth.
Huh?
Can you do another spit?
You feel me?
Yeah. 2 weeks into our first trip, we started running out of money. And when the guidebook says there are no ATMs in Myanmar, they genuinely mean there are no ATMs in Myanmar. So we spent about 2 days riding around on the back of a motorbike going to banks. We went to the Australian Embassy. We went to the 2 5-star hotels that they have for the government officials in Mandalay to see if we could get any cash out, but we just failed at every point. So we thought we were going to have to fly out of the country to either Singapore or Thailand and basically get cash out and fly back in. But then Coco had one last option for us to try, which was to go and see a friend of his who owned a travel agent. The travel agent knew a guy who was a businessman in Yangon, and he had a bank account in Singapore. So the whole idea was to transfer the money to the bank account in Singapore to this guy that we didn't know, and eventually we would get our money. He was like, that's great. It'll take about 10 days to 2 weeks to get the cash. And we were like, oh, we only have about 2 days worth of money left. So again, we were in a bit of a pickle. And Coco came to our rescue, and that's when he offered to take us out to the village where he grew up.
So we're on our way to Coco's village on the motorbikes. We're out in the middle of nowhere and we just had a little crash. It's okay. And now they're trying to fix Zozo's motorbike with rocks. Coco told us we were the first white people to ever visit the village. It was an absolutely surreal experience. There was no running water, no toilets, no electricity, no link to the outside world. The houses were made from bamboo and teak, with dirt floors. It was like being in a time warp. These people had absolutely nothing, and yet they opened their doors and arms and hearts to us.
I found my chestnut
It was one of the most touching and powerful experiences of our lives. We quickly became a source of endless amusement for the village children. Everywhere we went, we were flocked. We played duck, duck, goose until we couldn't run anymore. We took with us a few boxes of pencils to give to the children. Handing them out was like giving away bricks of gold. We were swamped by kids with smiles from ear to ear. We both learned a lot about what really matters in life during that first week in Sitaung. So when we left, we agreed to come back one day and do something to repay them for the kindness they had showed us.
So in 2014, we returned to Sitaung to begin the process of building a school.
So it's Saturday morning, we've been here for a week, and we're on our way out to Coco's village again this morning, just getting the bike serviced, and then on the road.
Who needs lanes in the sky would see you.
So we just arrived at Coco's village after a grueling 4-hour motorbike ride, a little bit sunburnt. I'm just at Coco's brother's house. We've been invited over to the village chief's house for lunch. So we're at the chief's house, and all the men from the village have been gathered for a meeting so we can talk about the school project.
Over lunch, Coco explained to us that the village school is cut off from the rest of the village in the rainy season by a river that floods for 3 months of the year.
You see in the road,
Yes?
in the water.
Too wet.
In my village, another village between. You see, like that.
Yeah.
Like that, in the motorbike.
Yes.
Like that.
Can't get through.
Too much rain.
Yeah.
A lot of water.
Yeah.
A lot of water.
Yep.
They don't want to go to school in the cheap for children.
Okay.
And near the monastery,
Yes.
new school
Yes.
for 8 years.
Yes.
Maybe later I show you.
Okay.
how to go there.
And all the children can go there
Yeah, easy
in rainy season. Okay. Is this because the school is on the other side at the moment? Is it? The school now is on the other side.
Other side, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, rainy season is very difficult.
Yeah.
It's not easy to walk. Not easy to.
Okay.
After lunch, Coco and the village chief took us to see the river that floods each year and the bridge that keeps getting washed away.
My village, rainy season. Yeah, rainy season not coming to another village. Okay, another village people not coming to my village. Only separate here.
And the school?
Also, school is not for children. Is very dangerous in the water. Very strong water. We don't want to go to school for 3 months.
Coco explained that each year during the rainy season, this dry riverbed becomes a raging river that continues to tear away the river banks, making it impossible for the village children to get to school. We originally discussed trying to rebuild this bridge, but the amount of damage to the river banks and the level of reinforcing that would be required means it's cheaper for us to build a new schoolhouse instead. We then went to meet the village's head monk to get his blessing for the project and to inspect the site next to the monastery where the new school would be built.
You want to do the 30 feet
30 feet.
wide,
30 feet wide,
60 long.
60 feet long.
battling for, make a draw, take the fight, safe and strive, holding on to those you love most dear. Rolling on, see the light, take the note, pick the fight, posing strong and face your greatest fears. Sit up high for the world to see. Sit up high, it's just the moon.
So this is the site that they're proposing to build the school on. It'll be 10 meters wide by 30 meters long, with a concrete floor and corrugated iron roof, bamboo walls, and it'll house 70 kids. So now we're just working out how much it will cost and how long to build.
The battle is almost won. There's a cave in your eyes. It's a ticket to
These are the 70 children who call Sitaung home. At the moment, they all share one classroom and one teacher and can only go to school during the dry season. We're trying to raise $15,000 to build a new schoolhouse to be used during the rainy season and to employ 2 extra full-time teachers so the children can be taught in separate classes according to their age and education levels. $15,000 is such a small amount of money, but it will have a profound impact on the lives of the children of Sitaung. It will provide them with an opportunity to have a proper education and to learn the skills and knowledge that they will require as their country continues to open up to the Western world. We've set up a page on the fundraising platform Chuffed. With your help, we can change the lives of these 70 children.
Lower your fears and throw down your guns. How long? I don't even know.